Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson, that's Nathan Fox. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Kevin.
LSAC has said that they've done extensive studies and concluded that dropping logic games does not have a significant effect on the diagnostics, but I'm curious on your opinion of how useful logic games and the spatial reasoning are in real life scenarios, and how this would have an effect on future lawyers. And then we've got three numbered points here. So point one, the mental reasoning one performs on the logic games, do you think that skill is necessary or helpful in the daily life of a lawyer or non-lawyers?
I don't know. I think it can be helpful on some level. It's interesting that some people never master the games and they do get very good at logical reasoning. So there's some, right, cognitive difference there.
I think it's extremely relevant to what lawyers do, especially if you think about civil procedure, or think about any of the multi-part analyses that we end up doing in law.
Mm-hmm.
I don't end up doing it, thank God, but lawyers end up doing these kinds of multi-part analyses. And there are places where somebody's going to make an argument and a savvy lawyer is going to be able to look at the system of the network of all of the different rules that have bearing here. And you're going to file the right motion that says, hey, because of this and this, these two things combine together, and this part, my client qualifies for this exemption to this or whatever. And you just get that thing just totally tossed out because you're able to solve the system and see that the system actually does justify this certain result that you want.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's extremely totally relevant. And I've heard this from lawyers, law students and actual practicing lawyers who have said, oh yeah, no, the stuff that we learned how to do in logic games, like that way of just puzzling things out, was immensely valuable for things like statutory interpretation. Like lawyers do a lot of tickings of boxes and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot like filling out your taxes. And I don't know. I do think it's helpful and necessary to be able to solve those kinds of puzzles.
Yeah.
Now, does it have to be specifically LSAT logic games? No, I think there's lots of other ways that they could test that stuff. So I'm not like mad about it, but I do think that the games they had validity.
Yeah.
Number two, Kevin says, if they are helpful in life, would you recommend mastering the games?
No, not necessarily. So, okay. Do the games measure someone's ability to do this spatial reasoning, or do they actually develop the spatial reasoning? I think they do both, but I think they develop it in a very particular way. And what's more valuable here is it's showing, hey, this is someone who can learn this spatial reasoning or do this kind of spatial reasoning. I don't know how helpful it is in actually developing the spatial reasoning that you're going to turn around and use in practice.
But I do think the games make you smarter. And if you enjoy playing games, right? If you get value out of...
I think that's a really tough question to answer. I think that's like a scientific thing that a lot of people struggle with. You get all these claims like these apps that, oh, you do these games every day and you're going to get smarter. And it's very clear that you can make someone better at that particular game. But then does that translate over into some other domain?
Yeah, I don't know. I love games, and I feel like I definitely feel like it makes me smarter, but that's just my, subjective opinion. So I agree that things like luminosity or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things they make a lot of claims about making you smarter, and maybe we don't believe those. But let's get to number 3 in Kevin's email. Are you considering leaving games in the LSAT Demon for those who like doing games?
Yes.
Yeah, we totally are. We were just talking about this on the Thinking LSAT podcast. Ben said he thought he wanted to leave them in. And so I absolutely think that they will stay in the drilling tool with an opt out, right? Where like it'll pop up, and if you If you're like, nah, I'm not doing those. I hate those. Aren't fun for me. I don't want to. You can just skip out of them.
Yeah. And they'd be
Yeah.
rare even when they do pop up, right? They're not gonna pop up like they do now. But
No,
it'd be
more
like
like at
for
45
fun.
minutes in, hey, want to take a little break and talk about mauve dinosaurs
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.